Welcome back to episode 15 of the Prior Podcast. I'm joined with a very familiar crew here today. We got Nabir, Faris, and Adil. Look, there's a lot to talk about today, and there's some two very heavily invested parties here with us today. So let's just get right into it. Today was the day that Liverpool faced off against Chelsea, the first Premier League game since Jurgen Klopp announced that he will be stepping away at the end of the season. It was a spectacular game of football that ended 4-1 in favor of Liverpool. Let me hear it, boys. Well, everyone just give me a quick 30 seconds thoughts of the game. I'll go first. I thought it was one of the funniest games of football I've seen in a while. Both squads have some absolute jokesters in their teams, and it's just so much fun to watch. Mostly with Chelsea's misery, but I think there was some funny moments on both sides of the game.
Yeah, my quick review, I think that game just sums up the entire season. Even if there's a glimmer of hope, there's none. It's awful. We are very bad. But Kunku is good, man. So that's like, we win some, we lose most.
We take those, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a statement because I think everybody's been doubting the squad with AFCON. We were losing players with injuries, and I think that this is the first time where there's no more excuse for the doubters. With every odd against the team, they're still showing that they're the best team in the Premier League right now. And of course, they can always get better, just like anyone can. But I mean, that was a statement win, and I think that everybody's scared to play Liverpool for the next couple weeks.
Yeah,
Nick?
I'd say I think this game perfectly showed that Chelsea is in a stage of beginning, and it shows that the manager's been only there for 6 months, whereas Klopp has been there for years. And the teams, how they performed, perfectly displayed the situation they currently are in.
Yeah. But okay, let's get into the weeds, right? So the match started very quickly. I think the first major moment of the game was there was a penalty shout for Conor Gallagher, who was tripped up by Virgil van Dijk. In my opinion, let's just address that off the bat, right? Because I don't want this referee thing to linger.
Hmm.
That was probably a penalty. I look at it and I think what the ref's looking for there is if Gallagher's going down before the contact. But when I see that replay, especially from the angle behind Gallagher, he's genuinely just running towards the ball when Van Dijk's knee collides with his and he can't anymore. But that being said, I think Chelsea players overall in the game were diving a little bit, maybe because they felt cheated after that first pen. I think these things have psychological effects on the game. But, that being said,
I
Liverpool
don't know,
goes,
man. Like I think like my opinions changed a lot in the last few hours since the match ended, but I think, I don't want to really be the one to hide behind any calls. If we got those penalties, which we probably should have, we were still gonna lose that game.
I
It
agree.
just it would have felt a bit better, because I felt like the ref was just on it. Like we weren't really getting a chance to like settle in. And another decision that I didn't really like was that really early booking on Caicedo. I thought that kind of like set a tone. It made him hard to play a little tighter. But yeah, if we get that pen, sure, it gets 1-1. But the amount of pressure they're putting on us, like, I don't know if that would have helped.
Yeah, I mean, let's just be honest about it. Liverpool suffocated your
Yeah.
defense. I think special weak points were Badiashile. I don't think Disasi had the best game either.
No.
Chilwell looked lost. I mean, there's very few Chelsea players that can, keep their heads high after that game. I think your keeper was excellent. Big part of the reason that wasn't a worse score line than it could have been.
Hmm.
The other big point I think we should really talk about very quickly while we're on Chelsea. Not quickly. Let's dive into this a bit. Is your midfield, right? Everyone
Hmm.
knows it as this 200 million pound midfield, right? And there's players in there that, Liverpool have scouted, they wanted, they bidded for, right? It begs the question, right? That are these players suffering from the system, or is there things individually that they could be doing better?
I
Um,
think before Faris gets into it, like
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
um, the way Poch has the midfield three set up, kind of ask a lot more of Caicedo than I think he's capable of doing. Because if you see their midfield, Caicedo is very lonely around with the back four. I think what Poch expects him to do is kind of break Liverpool's press with like 3 to 4 players and give a pass to Gallagher or Enzo, and then they can play the ball forward. I think it's asking way too much of him, especially with Liverpool's press, and him not being capable of doing that is essentially leading to overpressing with Liverpool and basically being dominated in the midfield.
Yeah, and also I know Forrest, like we're gonna give you a big runway for this. So let me just say my thing before you go.
No,
I
go
think
ahead.
I think this is the first game where I was truly able to appreciate the individual qualities of all three. I think there were actions by Enzo and Gallagher, especially throughout the entire game, that I was like, wow, like technically these
Mhm.
guys are sound in moments, right? And then there's other moments where they're put in these positions where they are surrounded by 3 or 4 Liverpool players. They panic and they do something totally that makes you feel like, oh, the thing you saw 5 minutes ago of them taking a touch, playing the perfect pass, that was not the same player, right? And that for me indicates there's something systematically off. But I'll let you deal. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just answered the question essentially with that. Like, what are the chances? I mean, Chelsea's running from the past season and a half an entirely new team, and they
Mhm.
are all proven players from their respective clubs. So just the basic probability tells you that it has to be the system, or it's 11 different guys all deciding to decline at the same time. And I just really don't see that being the case. Like you said, there are individual moments. They are good players. I don't think that Chelsea has a bad team in terms of talent. I think that they have a system that doesn't suit the vast majority of their players. And so restructuring that is, in my opinion, the only way you can really get a high finish out of this team next season.
Yeah, I think all three of your takes are pretty valid. I wouldn't go like 100% blame on Poch for today or just in general, but I would, definitely ask, why is Enzo the furthest midfielder? Why is Gallagher playing like a free roam role when he's supposed to be covering? Why is Caicedo like on an island? A lot of things I've seen a lot, but there are certain deficiencies these guys have too that I think if we go back all the way to the opening day match, Chelsea versus Liverpool at Stamford Bridge, and you saw that, Enzo had a really good game. Oh, because we had three at the back. We had a lot of people covering for him. We had him kind of deeper. And I'm like, okay, why did we stop doing these things? Because Enzo, again, he's not quick. He's not fast. He's sluggish. He can't really like defend just in any sense. And that's why he has him kind of pushed up a little bit so Caicedo can do a little of the dirty work. That's why he keeps Gallagher in to again cover defensively. But all these things like it hurts us more offensively when all these players are just in different spots to cover for them and we lose the ball. And in a game like today, we set up so like already aware that we were gonna just get run through, and it really it like sucks to see that kind of mentality. I expected a defensive setup. I just didn't expect like the amount of pressure they hit from minute one. Um, that's credit to Adil and Liverpool, man. That was something.
And I think it's interesting, like when you look back at opening day, I'll be the first to say that I think Chelsea, honestly, after the first 30 minutes, were the best team for the last 60 minutes. They honestly should have won that game. I was surprised that they didn't get a second and break the draw. And I think that I can't speak for the whole season, but the three at the back was effective against breaking out of the press. I mean, Liverpool presses every team. Even
Yeah,
every team knows it's coming, and they still do it because they sign players to fit that system. It's something that Klopp wants. It's more important than the player. And so I think that at least in the event you're playing Liverpool, having that space and having the ability to switch to a back five to break out of the press, I think that
because
that
it,
would
it
have been
gives you
something that would
like
have helped.
two huge things. It gives you width, which we were lacking, and it gives you cover.
Mhm.
It gives like Body Shield a little bit more space to, go instead of him being so pushed at left back or pushed at center back. He was getting absolutely targeted. And
He
and
looked
I didn't
lost.
think, yeah, I haven't seen him play this bad in a long time. It was surreal. And
And
I think
I
if we
think
had
that,
just
go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry,
no,
my
you got
bad.
it.
Go ahead. I was going to say, I think that honestly, switching away from the three at the back is almost like a confidence thing. I feel like you have to have a really strong uh, sense of comfort in your system to play three at the back. I think when you lose arguably the most important part of that in Reece James early on in the season,
Mm,
whoever's coming in is supposed to take on a really important part of that back line slash midfield. And I think things like that are ultimately why it didn't work out in the opening few games of the season. And I think that, if things went a different way, you could argue that, that system could be more effective than the one Chelsea's currently running.
Yeah.
I think in the complete inverse of that, right? Like we're talking about like, oh, it's hard to set up a team with 11 new faces. It's hard to set up a midfield with 3 new faces, right? You look on the other side, you have a midfield three at Liverpool of Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones, sure, he has some caps for Liverpool, but like it's nothing significant. He's not like a vet there, right? But I think the main difference I saw, Klopp almost takes like the individuality out of his midfield. They're like a swarm. It's not oh, you do this, you do this, you do this. It's like, hey, everybody, I'm sure they have a intricate like press trigger system, whatever, whatever. But when I'm looking at the screen, I can't pick out individuals. It's just guys getting after it, right? So I get we've been talking about this angle about like, oh, Chelsea's a new team, like they're gonna slowly figure things out. But there's some things that go on that just completely perplex me. The number one thing today is Chilwell's role in this team. He leaves Badiashile stranded. He's not there on offense contributing anything significantly. It's just like a net negative. Like it's almost better if you don't play him and play someone who could just play left back or like this transitional role he's being asked to play. I just don't see it working.
Yeah, my initial thing to that is like, again, he's literally just coming back from months out. And I'm wondering, is Poch like he kind of eased him in? He gave him like 45 minutes in the cup. He gave him like a cameo appearance in the FA Cup, and now he's like starting him here and asking him to essentially do the role of like an outlet almost. Like a lot of the times when we were getting like backwards passing the back, he was like, okay, let's get it to Chilwell. Let's see if he can beat a man or two and then play someone on. And I'm like, that should not be Chilwell's job in this
ISO
team.
ball with Chilwell should never be the game plan. But I'll also cut him some bail. Let's say he was able to play that outlet pass, right?
Mm,
I just want to point out your front three today
Mm.
before the subs couldn't stay on side, couldn't take a
mm,
first touch, couldn't not run backwards. There were a couple different times that game that the ball from midfield was played well to both Madueke and Sterling, numerous occasions for both. And their first touch, their first movement, their first instinct, it was just completely wrong. Like look, the game's 90 minutes. You don't have energy to always make the direct run all the time, right? But I don't think I remember a single instance where they were direct with the ball. And that has to be frustrating for the midfield. Like you break the press, you play the ball, and it doesn't work.
I think most of it has to deal with the fact that most of the game was played in Chelsea's half, and whenever the forward three did receive the ball, they were just so like wanting to
outnumbered.
ball forward just to get a little bit of press off the back. So they didn't even bother turning back and try to pass it and play against the Liverpool press. They wanted to get the ball forward as much as they can. I saw Sterling just literally run into defense because he didn't want to go back at all. Like there is very little interplay between the three, and I just feel like Palmer at that 9 role kind of like
I didn't
it's
see him.
not
I
gonna
didn't see him today. I'm gonna be real.
like
There's
this.
such a severe lack of like ball retention in like our front five that like even like Madueke, like 2 seconds, he's like, I'm gonna either dribble into someone or pass it back and save the ball. Palmer in the middle is a non-factor, dude. You put him
Yeah,
against Konate and Van Dijk, and you want him to find pockets of space.
come on.
It's just not smart. Sterling, yeah, he would at least hold on to the ball longer than we expected. But again, when his options are Gallagher, who can't really pick a pass forward, or Palmer, who's just trying to get it out wide, like there was no incision. And I don't even think, maybe if we played a striker there, we'd have had a couple chances, but it felt like everyone was covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So this leads me to a question. A little over 3 weeks from now, we have the same matchup again, Carabao Cup Finals. Do you think that there's anything that Chelsea can do on their end to really get a different
Yeah,
result?
I definitely think. I think first of all, we'll be out of that atmosphere that I felt like was definitely affecting some of the younger guys there. They were feeling that crowd, but I thought the second half cameos and certain performances looked inspiring, like enough to say, like, okay, here's an actual adult in the room. And
Yeah.
Nkunku is one of the few non under
Scored a goal.
25-year-olds we have. He
Mhm.
has quality, he has like an understanding. I think even Chukwuemeka is an upgrade on Gallagher going forward. Just like IQ, just like being like, I got the ball instead of playing it safe. Let me try something. And when
Mhm.
just a few of those players start to link up, I get like a bit confident. So at Wembley, I would say all of those guys should be starting: Gusto, Chukwuemeka, and Kunku, and keep most of the rest like Enzo, Caicedo, Palmer.
Is
We'll
there any
figure it
chance
out.
of Reese being healthy for that game?
Oh man,
Uh,
don't give hopes for this guy. I really don't. But I really think if Palmer plays that 10 role with Nkuku up top, and hopefully the other two midfielders get a little bit of support on the back,
yeah,
there's a shot, there's a chance. It's just a lot of things need to click for Chelsea to do well. And at the moment, whenever a little bit of things click, the other things just fall apart like terribly.
that's the perfect description, dude.
Look. So that was great analysis on Chelsea, but you have to remember the team they're playing at
Mhm.
Wembley. So let's talk a little bit about
Oh
Liverpool
man.
because I think whatever you correct, this Liverpool team has the same amount of time to get even better, and
Yeah.
it's looking scary right now.
And
Go for it.
I'll say that, my one concern, and obviously this is a place of privilege to be talking from, is that we're the only team left in every major competition, Europa League aside. But we are in four competitions. We're trying to win. We're the only team still aiming to win four competitions. We never have been known to have a large rotational squad. We usually play our guys and see what happens. And so, we are a little injury stricken. We have to make some sacrifices, some priorities. I think the final will definitely take some priority, but at the same time, Klopp is managing four different tournaments, and it's just a matter of which one he decides to give priority to. I know that he values the Premier League more than anything, and so we have a tough set of fixtures coming up. I think that Chelsea's only way out is if they come up against one or two guys who just don't play as much as the starters, and they're able to capitalize off of that.
I
But I
saw
do
that
think
that
I think a strong Liverpool side can't really be beaten right now.
I saw Klopp said that Kelleher was going to start in goal in the League Cup final based off of form or based off of just he's been playing all the cup games. That's one thing, you don't have the presence of Allison. I don't really know much on Kelleher. I just know he's not Allison. So we'll take the small victories wherever we can.
Yeah, no, but
Gallagher, yeah,
here's what I will say in regards to like the four competitions front. If Klopp hadn't announced that he was dipping at the end of the season, I think that would have been more valid. But I think like there has to be this mentality of like we have to take the trophies where they are, right? Like we're in four competitions, yes, but a cup final is never a guarantee, right? Like I think he's gonna want to stack as many trophies as he can this season, and if that means like a starter or two that would have normally been rested plays, I think he goes for it.
I don't know. That'd be interesting to see. I think I
You
mean, yeah,
know,
cup final, I could see Trent and Salah back in their places, but I don't know.
is Salah gonna be ready by February? End of February?
Yeah, bro.
Probably, yeah.
He's playing against Arsenal. Don't be fooled.
No, sir.
He posted that pic training today, man. This is all Fugazi. It doesn't exist.
the biggest
Uh,
question I have is what is Klopp going to do about this young stud he has playing in Trent's spot?
Mhm.
And where is Trent going to be playing? Is he going to be playing in the midfield where, pretty much anybody who's English or watches football thinks needs to happen? Or is he going to be playing instead of Bradley? And I'm honestly curious to see. I would love to see Bradley at right back, Trent in the midfield. I think that combination is honestly just deadly. But at the same time, Trent is our best right back despite the breakout, and I'm just curious to see where he takes that.
I
listen.
think I think even after Bradley had two assists and a great goal, even though that happened when Trent stepped into the pitch, bro, I'm telling you, different type of aura.
Bro, that's big bro. All right. These new kids,
Yeah,
great. Connor Bradley genuinely moved me today, but you gotta remember who Big Bro is.
big bro still.
And, and when he comes on that pitch, there's not a single player in the world like Trent, right? Like I, I
All
know
right.
Connor Bradley has stunned us in a couple games, but he's gonna need to build like a repertoire to like get at that level. If it's a question today, who starts at right back? It's Trent, right?
Mhm.
If it's a question, what should happen? Given the tools you have in your squad, the size of the squad, how thin it is in certain areas, your best bet is like to thank God and be like, okay, we get to employ this monster
Mhm.
at midfield where he could potentially be even more effective.
Mhm.
Right? Like I saw the funny screenshot today of like the match event. It's like Trent gets subbed on and they concede right away.
Oh yeah.
Like obviously he's not that fragile on defense,
Can I
but
say something, dude? I
huh,
don't necessarily care for Trent at midfield at what I've seen.
you prefer him at right back?
Yeah, I think all
That's
his best
interesting.
moments come at right back. I think he still does the role of that center midfielder at right back. He still occupies like a pretty high space. I think it's kind of a formality thing with the title of right back and center midfielder, but you just keep him where he is, dude. That's the best role he has.
Yeah.
I feel like
That's
in
fair.
midfield, he's maybe you ask him a little bit too much, like playing in between the lines and stuff, which he could probably do. But why risk that when you know what you'll get from right back, you know?
Trent can't do out of position midfield work. He can't.
It's a
Like
lot of like covering,
out of-
screening.
exactly. Out of ball position, he cannot do that midfield work. He once he has the ball, yeah, he can manage the whole field. But I don't think he can employ that
I,
midfield with the ball.
I think Trent's best position is a position that does not exist in the modern game, which is
Exactly.
the right midfielder in a 4-4-2.
Oh, here we go.
Like
David Beckham
like
recommendation.
David Beckham,
Four
right?
four
Oh my
two.
God.
4-4-2, right? I feel like that's his best position, but like with the modern game, it's like obviously either he has to play as a right back and comes close to midfield, or like yeah, what he's been like
Dude, that position
doing with the
exists, bro.
whole
It's called Dwight McNeil at Everton. Does the same thing.
Yeah, respect Everton, bro.
I really like Dwight McNeil.
But look, it's a fantastic problem to have, right? You have two incredibly capable players at right back, and if we're being real, like the world of football is not spoiled today in that position, right? You could
Mm.
count the number of elite right backs on one hand, and looks
Danny
like
Carvajal.
I don't know if he'd be on like the eighth hand if there was, um, but they seem to maybe have two on their hands, so very
Also,
exciting.
this is kind of like glazing the opposition, but I thought McAllister also was very
Oh,
good today.
Very good today.
Like
Yeah.
one of those performances where it doesn't like show off the screen, but then you're like, dang, like every time the ball went to him, it was a forward pass.
Forward pass, cutting through the midfield.
Yeah. I was like,
Tackles left and
damn,
right.
bro. I should have
I
spent a little
also
more at Brighton.
I also want to. That's funny. I wanted to take a moment to highlight Darwin Nunez, who was
Oh,
Oh,
please,
maybe
please.
the one blemish on this win for Liverpool. Look, this guy is what I know of him. He is a physical specimen, right? Like he was built to be an elite striker. He's fast, he's tall, he's athletic. He can do it all. There were numerous times where the ball got played to him perfectly. He's essentially through on goal if he continues to sprint, but he has this like FIFA Kobe Bryant shoot it mentality where he does not want the easy way. He needs to score the banger. So he pulls up from like 40 yards every chance he got that game. Let me actually look up how many shots from outside the box he attempted. I think it was like at least 6 or 7. And I just think like I get
Honestly,
that
I like it, dude. I like that.
no,
I
and you know
swear
what the
he was
craziest part
moving
is?
like Ibra or like Aguero or Tor, like those older strikers that would take these, which is now like an unorthodox shot, like just spam. Like those shots weren't off; they were on
They
target.
weren't. They were great shots. And
Yeah.
I saw a stat today that he has matched the Premier League record for the amount of times he's hit the bar, which is 11,
The
right?
single game.
Yeah. No,
4
in
in
a
a
single
single
game
game
and
and
total.
11 in his
Yeah, yeah. And the craziest thing is I saw a comment under it. It said, "Oh, if the goal was 5 inches bigger on every side, he would have double the amount of goals." And then someone else replied, "No, he would just shoot it that much harder to compensate." And I was like, that's exactly the mentality. He then has the penalty, which, like, to be honest, bro, the shot he took, that's a good shot. But
just didn't.
things don't work for him, man. It's
But
really
one thing I'll commend for him, like I don't see any like him missing the penalty, him just scuffing off like the easy open nets. He doesn't get affected, not
At
one
all.
single bit.
Cole, he
Goldfish
knows.
mentality.
Nothing happened, and that
Goldfish mentality. He
yeah.
forgets right away.
But I don't think that's up to him. I think he
I think there's
genuinely
another
just.
word for that kind of.
I don't think he remembers. I think,
No, they call it.
I
I
think
don't
he
know.
just forgets genuinely. They
Yeah.
caught him on Instagram liking like videos for 5-year-olds, like coloring.
Oh,
No, he was drawing a horse, dude.
Yeah, drawing a horse.
Him and Mudrik would be friends.
Bro. That's Stim brothers, man.
get him in the same team.
That's Stim homies. But
Oh man.
I just think like it's like a natural nerf from the universe. Like if you gave Klopp that specimen with a brain,
Oh
this
man.
league would have been wrapped up 4 weeks ago. Like it would have been wraps. I
It's
don't know.
insane, dude, that they can just have that guy doing all that stuff and still put 4 past us.
Yeah.
But I really think he brings a vibe to the team, and you
Oh, for
can't
sure.
you
Yeah, for
can't put
sure.
a monetary value. I think genuinely like training is more fun with that guy. I would love to kick around with that dude. Like he seems like a great time.
And he contributes a goal or an assist every game he plays. And
Yeah.
I know he'll have one or two sitters that go over the bar or whatever it might be. Today it was the post, but he is the reason they either win or win by the amount they do every single game. And so like at the end of the day, I don't think Klopp could ask for any more. That's why since basically November, he has not been taken out of the squad despite, whatever you see on Twitter. I mean, I think that that's arguably why they're so like clear on the table right now.
Also, maybe because Nico Jackson wasn't playing, he had to like do double the work of just
Yeah.
insanity.
Yeah. Nico texted him like, "Yo, cover for me." Can't make it today. Okay, but the other thing that we've been mentioning this entire time is Klopp, right? Since our
boy.
last pod, he came
Since
out.
the Mourinho pod.
Since the Mourinho pod, right? Where we were talking about managers, this guy said, "I'm done." And I just want to quickly say, right, that whole Mourinho pod and my whole argument the entire time was like, the exit is as important as the entrance and whatever you do throughout, right?
Disagree.
And like for Klopp, like we've seen managers, like this is something that doesn't get talked about often, but these guys lose their wives, they damage their relationship with their children because they become obsessed with this game, right? Like it, and I can't see it any other way. For these guys to be elite, you really have to dedicate amount of time, effort that would damage other parts of your life. For him to be cognizant of that, have the run he had, have the squad he has, which really is just at the beginning of its like new cycle, for him to have like that level of like understanding, like, okay, what I have to offer here might be done, is like so amazing to me personally. Like, and
is he retiring or is he just like stepping back?
It's a break, but we don't know what that. He said he's never coming back to the Prem, right? He
Makes
confirmed
sense.
that.
Unless it's with the Liverpool.
Yeah,
Right.
he could come back to Liverpool, but
Yeah.
I don't see that.
I really don't see that. But it could be international after this. Like Germany could certainly use him running things.
Yeah.
Any club in world football could use him running things. It's just still, regardless of if the break's a year, 5 years, it's impressive to me that he knows it's time.
Well, what do you think is the reason? Is it because you think it's because of family problems, health issues?
I don't think it's family problems. I think if it was that, something would have leaked by now, right? Like, oh, this is the reason. I think it's more like foresight. Like, let's go out on a high before there's a problem, right? Like everything here at Liverpool has been so great for so long.
But you think he had this foresight this season?
No, from my understanding, he wanted to quit in the middle of last season. I think that, I mean, obviously it was probably the worst season he's had since he's got here in terms of from where the season expectations were and where he ended. And he was attributing most of that to fatigue. He said that, maybe I don't have it anymore. And his wife convinced him to finish the season strong. And she said that you owe it to the team. And so I think he's looked at everything he's accomplished from that Brighton loss last year to now, less of like a, we're going to turn this thing around. And it's more of like a relief. Like, I have to fix this problem, but I don't have it in me anymore. And so I think that he kind of just made amends to what he may have, let slip last year. And for him, that's enough to be ready to go.
And like the other piece of it is like, how much more can he accomplish that doesn't require a lot more time, right? He's won one of each trophy, right? Like the things that are left for him to accomplish are like the multiples or like the back-to-backs or like the
Europa
like
League, the
Europa
worst
League,
version.
right?
Yeah.
So like it's like when you're in these competitive scenes, I assume it's very easy to get greedy about these things. You taste victory, you want it again and again, but like at a certain point, he has to be like, there is marginal gain for the amount of effort I'm putting into this.
Dude,
Well,
I think if he wins a Premier, like if they win the Premier League this year, which is
yeah.
not a guarantee with City, I'm like, how can you dip, dude? Like if this new team is giving you that, like
Sir
how can you
Alex did
leave?
it, bro. Sir Alex did it. It was like,
Yeah, that's true.
But
I
he
don't
just
know.
bought so many players. He's bringing out all these new talents. Like these are like his signings, man. He's creating a
But
team and he's kind
but
of
I feel
lead.
like you have to understand, like Klopp to Liverpool as a city and as a team is
Yeah, it's a
like
whole factor. It's
something,
different.
yeah, something beyond just like a manager of any team, you know? Other than the fact that he stayed with them for like what now, 9 years, which is triple the amount of the average Premier League manager that is successful-ish, right?
Mhm.
Managers stay for like 3 years and they have to be fired
I
or
mean,
like they have to
nine
dip.
years in this era is like unheard of, bro. Like,
Yeah, unheard of,
yeah,
right?
like it's.
And
I
and
think the only longer 10 years, unless I'm mistaken, at these big clubs is Sir Alex and Wenger. Like, other than that, you're not getting 10-year plus 10 years.
yeah,
Simeone.
Simeone, yeah.
Simeone, yeah. Yeah, you're
I
you're
also
not
think
getting
somewhere that Klopp kind of needs to get his flowers that I don't see any manager in the last decade doing is taking on these projects. He's not walking into ready-made beds. He is walking into honestly disasters, and he's turning these clubs not into just, top four finishers, like Champions League finalists, Champions League winners. And that's something that we have not seen arguably this century,
Yeah,
from a
let me
manager.
let me let me hold you on that because like we look, our Mourinho take got a lot of engagement, let's just call it, right? And one of the things we said in it, we were talking about the levels of teams he was inheriting. Bro, I would argue that Liverpool team he inherited was as bad, if not worse, than the last four teams where Mourinho has coached. I think they were starting Martin Skirtle. Like if we just need to put things into perspective, like
I think it was worse.
they were genuinely a Europa League locked, as in like you maybe get Europa League level team, and he brought them to the forefront of European football. It wasn't like, oh, Liverpool is it a top six team in the Champions League. It's like Liverpool's a favorite to win the Champions League when Klopp was
Yeah.
around. Like
To put it
it's
into perspective today, it's like if somebody inherits Chelsea today and instead of their budget being $1 billion, it's maybe 50 million. And from there, Chelsea goes from 10th to 6th this season and is a top four team by the end of next season. And then from there on, all the records, all the titles, and over the next decade. And I think that if anybody could make that happen in such a quick turnaround, he would be getting all the praise in the world. So that's really what Klopp did with Liverpool. It was a
I'm with
disaster
I'm
before he
with you
got
on
there.
that. I think the financial stuff that he's had to deal with in his own club. Let's not even talk about like what he's dealing with over there in Man City, like his own club, FSG. Michael Edwards, this whole saga. Like he's had to deal with a lot of like
yeah.
not getting the funds to really go toe to toe with City and Chelsea in terms of spending. Like and I also saw another thing where I think there was like a report about Michael Edwards coming back, and then people were saying, "Oh, Michael Edwards is the real like reason why they had all the success." That was like a whole nother conversation. I'm just like, Michael Edwards is like 20% of sure, like he got all these talents, but like Klopp's greatest trait as well has been turning these kind of not so great, kind of average players and
Into
bringing out the
diamonds.
best into that, man. Like, look at the Mo Salah that they signed. Look at the,
Allison,
uh,
the Van
sure,
Dyke.
Allison. Yeah, like these were
Robert.
like kind of average players at okay clubs, dealing with some things, and now they're like household names. So
Yeah.
Dude,
But yeah, let's
credit to
look at
him.
all these names actually. Can we go over the names or no? Like,
Yeah.
if you have them handy, go for it.
yeah, Firmino signed from where? From like
Leipzig.
Hoffenheim.
Hoffenheim.
Hoffenheim for how much? God knows who. Chunk
Don't
of
know.
change.
Sadio
Sadio
Mane.
Mane, best football player in the world. Signed him from Southampton. Southampton is like
Pochettino,
Van
Southampton.
Hey,
yeah,
don't
Van
sleep on the
Dyke,
quickest hat trick
Southampton.
ever, though.
Yeah, Van Dyke, Southampton. Allison was a good signing. He's from Roma, like
Yeah.
we've all known like he was good. Salah,
Uh,
he played in the Prem, not proven,
Premier League
Fiorentina
failure
stint,
at the time.
Fiorentina stint, Roma stint, pretty good, but he made him like a top 5 player in the world, you
Mhm.
know. And you have others like Fabinho. Fabinho was all right,
Robertson.
Uh,
Nobody knew who Robertson.
Robertson, no
No,
one
look,
knew
Yeah.
I'll
Robertson.
add even more credit to this. Like we're dismissing some of these as like, oh, Allison was good already. Oh, Fabinho was on that spectacular Monaco team. Oh, Salah was on that Roma team scoring goals. But look at how many signings flop every summer, every winter.
Yeah.
These big names, these proven names, they come in and they absolutely, I don't want to say the
Yeah.
word, but you know what I mean, right? Like
Mhm.
his hit rate with these transfers,
Yeah. At least the
it's
first 10 transfers were like
absurd.
9 out of 10. Yeah.
It's crazy. Like if you're a club that has a remotely good amount of money, but not like insane amount of money, and you need your money to work for you, that's the guy you want, right? Like when he makes a signing, even this summer, bro. Look at the stuff we clowned. We clowned Endo. We clowned McAllister. We clowned Szoboszlai for standing around looking good. He has these dudes working in this midfield. It's you look at Kwanzaa, you look at Robertson from
Mhm.
Trent's entire development.
Mhm.
it's crazy. I think
And I was gonna say, I think I have an argument that Klopp is arguably the best tacticianer in the world, and this is why I say that. We have not changed formations since he's got here, barring maybe a couple months in, and we are signing players known or unknown. The Liverpool team, just no matter who they bring in, Klopp fits them into the system, and that system wins every year.
I wouldn't
And so
I
I
wouldn't
think
say
I think that that's an argument that no other
I think it's a
team
fair
has
argument.
that type. Yeah, I don't think any other team has that level of success with the same
I would
tactics.
say that, yeah, if in the sense of like, let's say like the money's out of it, then who am I taking to like tweak a team? It's like it's just a Pep or Klopp conversation, right? I don't think it's just 100% Pep, but I would still lean towards Pep if we're saying like equal resources. I don't know if that's a shared viewpoint from everyone.
equal because look, Pep has missed. Pep has
Yeah,
missed a
Pep is. I
couple.
mean, we can do some Klopp misses too. I just think
Yeah.
if
No,
it
no,
hit
no,
Klopp
for
like
missed as
sure.
well. Later
Klopp,
on, yeah, he
Klopp
cooked it.
missed a couple times later on, and I think if he doesn't miss those, he's even better. But I think Pep's miss rate is higher, and uh, I think maybe the reason it's higher is like you could also buy into the fact that he didn't have FSG, he didn't have Michael Edwards, right? Like Citigroup is one behemoth, right? But I think
no,
in
like
terms
if
of
Liverpool bought a player, they can't flip that guy for years. He's there, but City
right,
has the chance of
Yeah.
being like, we'll just
City,
get a
like if
replacement
if
next
you don't
year.
work, yeah, they
exactly,
sell him right away.
Dude, they have some
yeah,
guy named Mateus Nunes on their bench. He costs 60 million pounds.
he got an assist
Who?
today. To be fair,
I don't care. Who is that, dude?
Yeah.
That's not a player, dude.
I feel like the main difference between at least Pep and Klopp is uh, Pep demands his way of playing in players, like to a level that's like more technical than rather than robust energy. But Klopp demands the energy, the fight, the hard work more so than the technical ability. So the word tactician, I think, it goes more towards Pep in that way because he more so has like derived plans of certain situations more so than Klopp. Klopp, I feel like goes off of like raw energy and kind of that hard work, the press, and then the cohesiveness in the team. And obviously, there's some tacticians into it, but If you
Yeah,
You know
feel
how
I
like
would say though that in a sense that there's tacticianing in that, and it might not be in the way that, you line up the team, but a lot of that has to do with ultimately what a good tacticianer does. And I also think that, there were a lot of shouts that after City signed Holland, yeah, he's scoring a record-breaking number of goals, but the system changed, and a lot of arguments were that it changed for the worse. We've seen a lot of Manchester City domination before Holland arrived, so we need more time after that point to really compare. But that could be an argument made that like Pep can't necessarily make every player work in his system.
I would, but
Yeah,
I would, I
but
would
they
give Pep credit that he also can innovate. Like he knows, like he first really started this inverting with the fullbacks, at least
that's
recently.
true. That's
He
true.
Yeah,
also,
box
That is true.
midfield,
yeah, like these, maybe he's like ahead of it,
playing with no striker. He played with no
yeah,
striker,
Yeah,
almost won the
that's
I don't
treble.
want to say he invented these things, but he definitely like brought the most out of them in recent years in the
Hmm.
Prem.
Yeah.
But like what I'd say to Klopp is that like how we give credit to Wenger for adding this style of football, like Klopp's like gegenpress, like
mhm,
full throttle football that wasn't seen in the Prem. That was
Yes.
brand new, and he like Ifty said, he turns his three midfielders into these workhorses, no matter who they are. Even Coutinho was doing these shifts. That's why he like left that club for
He
Barca.
said, I'm going to
But
Barcelona.
but but that in itself is like a creation, like no, when
Yeah.
you think of that style of football, that was made by him. I can't think of beyond that,
Dude, honestly, that's a great point because this not only changed how the top teams play, you
Mm.
compare how these mid-table bottom sides used to play. It used to be hoofball and we pack it in, we hope for the best. Dude, Luton is out here pressing. Sheffield's out here pressing. Like these aren't normal behaviors from these teams. Like he genuinely changed how everybody sees the game. And
Yeah.
I just want to say, like, this whole segment belongs in like a top 10 respect moments in football. Just the amount of glazing we're doing right
No,
now.
no,
Yeah.
honestly, I thought I was
But
gonna like hate on him. I had a feeling of hating on him, but like I don't
Same, I
know. I
can't.
feel like he's like dying or
Nah, I
something. I don't
got you.
know.
Look,
yeah.
one title race with Arteta and he started running, bro. Like he told us why people aren't equipped mid-season. And I
No,
get it, man.
but I think one fallacy we think about like Klopp always is that he sticks to this one plan that's like ultra pressing and like high energy football and all that. But Klopp, if you think about it, just like how we said, Pep innovates all the time. He like invented this like inverted wingers, the box midfield, whatever. Like he every couple months he has to like innovate something new. Klopp did that. Klopp is always doing that because if you see like his club like goes on dips like in some seasons, and then he starts like to innovate new things. Like the latest thing was like Trent as midfielder. That just like unlocked a new thing, right?
Yeah,
Because
but
everyone was targeting like that right side and like exploiting that right side. And then he did this little tweak where like he would get Trent in the midfield and have Konate run in the back because Konate is super fast and like just track as a right back
there's
type
But
of
is
thing.
also
that not exactly what Pep was doing though? Just putting a right back further up.
yeah.
Like, is
I
that?
mean
I mean,
you can also
no, I'm
say
Look,
saying
that
we
it's
we don't need to take anything away, right? Like
yeah.
we've already said player developments. There, he's second to none. In terms of this, making a new way to play in world football, second to
Mm,
none, right? Like he has his plaudits already. Like
Legacy.
we
Yeah.
don't need
legacy. Yeah.
to, stretch things. I think it only takes away from him, if anything. I'm just curious if things go well at the end of the season, if he pulls a Brady or not. Where he's like, never mind. I'm staying. I'm not
I don't
leaving.
think so. I
You
really
know?
don't think so.
I think it's
I
more
think
of a
he'll be
if you
I
put
think
the
he'll be really happy that like, oh, he went out on a high, and that he set a team to like play good football after him type of thing.
Well, I guess we'll find out. That was a lot of time on Klopp. I
Wait,
think
I had one more thing I wanted to pose.
go for it.
Let's who's gonna be the David Moyes in this situation? Who's the
Oh,
fall guy?
this is a great point.
The next guy is failing. I'm
The
100%
next guy
sure.
has to fail. Otherwise, Klopp's legacy is in danger. Everyone's gonna be like,
Oh.
"Oh, FSG was the machine. This guy
The
was a puppet."
Michael Edwards statue.
Yeah, bro. Genuinely, like the next dude genuinely has to fail. Like I think you guys get Emery or De
Martin also.
Zerbi or Xavi, not
We're
Alonso.
getting,
Dude, they
we are
would.
getting Alonso. I think that's the only
Alonso would
person.
work, bro. That's an issue. Like you
I
don't
don't,
Yeah,
I
want
don't
I
it.
think
know,
Alonso would work.
100%.
I don't think Alonso would work. That's my
Really?
take.
No,
I
he
think
has to
he
work.
would. I think he would.
I don't think he's ready, and I think he does not like. He's more of like this what's the word, automatisms, like keeping the players running their circuits, these kind of more like De Turbi, and I don't think those kind of managers work at Liverpool. Genuinely, I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, De Zerbi's been found out, unfortunately. Like that guy
I
fell
think I
off.
think Xabi Alonso needs time.
He definitely needs time, but I still think he'd make it work at Liverpool. It'd be fun to watch him
Yeah.
fail.
He's coming back, boys.
Yeah, Stevie G would be a dream, bro.
No.
Let's have the fairy tale. Come on,
He's
No.
still running El Atifaki, all right? Let's let him run El Atifaki.
Yeah, yeah.
bro.
And
Let's
the
get
funniest thing is like people think the team's name is Al Ittifaqi, but like Ittifaqi means that I'm a supporter of Al Ittifaq. So it's like a joke in Saudi that like all these like
Our
Westerners
fans.
call that team Al Ittifaqi. Just a little like
I think they should get Roy Hudson, bro. That would be hilarious.
They need to bring back the player manager. Like someone
They-
on the squad should just take over.
They need to get
Imagine
Rafa,
Endo, dude. Endo just being like,
the Beaver.
they need to get Graham Souness on the field. Right?
just get the Sky Sports booth to just call the game from the booth. Like,
bro. Get
Fun
all-
fact, yeah, dude. Kenny Dalglish, if you guys didn't know this, dude was a player manager in I think the 70s, and bro would not play himself because he didn't want to hurt team morale and put himself into a lineup. And they were playing so awfully that, a couple of his buddies were like, dude, please, like,
get in there.
get in the game. He got in the game. The second half of the season, things were way better. So, dude, that's why he has a statue. That's why he's one of the best.
I think Giggs was a player manager, right? For a
Yeah,
little
He
bit.
was, yeah.
Dude, we need to bring those back, dude. Klopp should retire like one game early and just have like Nunez do it. Fuck it, I want to see
If
that.
Nunez managed the game, I'd get there no matter what. I'd get
Be
a
like-
plane ticket tomorrow.
16-0 at halftime, then the end 16-17.
I think
Greatest game of all
think
time.
that was declined when they decided to take them off of FIFA. I think everyone realized that that's an unwritten rule where we can't do them in real life now if they're not available.
Oh, we can
FIFA,
do
so-
them, dude. We have to do them.
That's funny. Another funny thing I kind of wanted to bring up. I don't know if you guys saw the shenanigans in the Spurs game earlier today.
We gotta talk about Spurs, dude.
Dude, I think we do. Those
All
guys pulled a comeback today, but Neal Maupay scored the first goal and did the celebration, right? And then Spurs ended up coming back, and every goal they scored, they made sure to make fun of him doing this.
Mm.
And then in the post-game interview, James Madison said, "Oh, he has to steal my celebration because he hasn't scored enough goals in his career to have his own."
That was
And
a
then
good one.
somebody tweeted, this is so funny to me. Somebody quoted that interview as like, "Oh, Madison always gets rattled. It's funny because Maupay has more career goals and has less career relegations than Madison." And I know for a fact Neal Maupay saw that tweet because like 10 minutes later, he posted on Instagram the thing and it was like, "I have more career goals and less relegations than you." And then Madison clapped back with the picture and he said something along the lines of a short story. They won the game. And then Maupay commented, "Rent free." I think he's the biggest shithouse in the Premier
Oh,
League.
dude, it's amazing.
Biggest, yeah.
I think he's literally like one of these like big football Twitter accounts. If they were good at football, that is the product. Like he's just there to cause problems. And it sucks when it's against your team, but it's so fun to watch when it's anybody else.
Dude,
Like,
I
they
remember
lost
when
the
he
game.
when he was doing that shit during COVID, like against Arsenal, and then Arsenal fan TV were like, let me shout out the NHS, and it's like, Neal Maupay, I hate you, you're a cheat. You remember that,
Bro, he indirectly won Argentina the World Cup. He injured
dude, I
Berg
know,
Leno.
injured-
Emmy came in.
Oh my
Emmy
God.
saved the penalty. If he doesn't come in Arsenal at that point, I don't think he signs for Villa and all the rest. It's crazy. Anything else y'all had to bring up this week?
Just Liverpool, man. Liverpool.
So, let me just give a quick title picture. Arsenal won their game. Had to throw that in. That's the first Arsenal mentioned this episode. That has to count for something.
Respect.
We're right back in the thick of things. Before we go, I just want to do, I think, probably the game of the season outside of City Liverpool later. Arsenal face Liverpool on Sunday. at the Emirates. I think we win that game, we're back in the title conversation. We lose that game, it's over.
Yeah.
As a result, I'm predicting a win. I'm predicting a 3-1 victory over
Oh,
Liverpool.
wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
1-1.
1-1 draw. I think with a
1-1
draw, we're still in it, to be honest. If it's a draw, I think we're still in the conversation.
Yeah, I'd
I
say
think if
draw.
it's a draw, they're not, because I don't think that they'll accumulate enough points.
You don't think so? I guess we'll see.
I think you need Liverpool losing for that to happen, and if you can't induce it, who else will? And
Yeah.
so I think that
There's
it's
one
really
other
not
guy.
about. Yeah, that's true. But in that case, that other guy is going to take the title and not Arsenal. You
Yeah.
know, and that's why I think Arsenal needs to win the game. But yeah, score prediction. I think it'll be a 3-0 Liverpool win.
Damn. At the
I mean,
Emirates?
Ish.
dude, I watched. Dude, FA Cup. We went to
FA
the Emirates
Cup.
and we smashed your boy, bro. We smashed your boy.
FA
That's
Cup
true.
is FA Cup. We had our little bro in goal. It's hard to
Premier League
say.
will be Premier League too.
Yeah. Hey, look,
I better see some tweets when Arsenal concede to Nunez, bro. I better see
listen, that's why I got
Nunez
content,
hat
bro.
trick 3-0.
I better see some TikTok content, dude.
Yeah, I think so. I think the guys under the Mourinho video reported the account because our next video was shadow banned. And I gotta just say fair play to everyone that did that. I would have done the same.
Dude, the
But
funniest thing is the response was no information, just no. It was just vibes.
yeah,
Bro.
I was like, bro, say something. And then the guy, this is the funny. I gotta show you guys what he said. I was like, okay, like, sure, like we need views or whatever. We absolutely do need views. Watch the damn video. But I was like, give me a counter, and he said, dude, you saying that is like saying Messi and Ronaldo aren't in the GOAT debate because they're bad now. As if like managers get old and tired.
I like the guy that said, yo guys, we should start a podcast. That was funny.
Yeah,
That was funny. That like just invalidated everything we've done for like 6 months.
No. He's not the first one, to be honest. I like it every time someone says that.
That's good.
But it's all good. There's also some people. My favorite other comment is like, oh, like you guys know zero ball, and I'm assuming like the assumptions because we speak in American accents. I always go on the profiles of these dudes to see like where they're from. 99% of the time, they're American too. So like this level of self-hate, we really need to work on this, guys. Like we're trying to come out of the trenches, not deeper into it. So keep that in mind. Like the videos, watch the videos, subscribe, follow everything. We're on the platforms if you wanna listen to us on a car ride, little Spotify, little Apple Music, little Amazon Music if you're into that. We're everywhere. So catch us there. Keep watching. We will see you next week. Peace.
Peace.